Looks like we're going back to 2018. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. Gibson has dropped the new colors. Now, when I say we're going back to 2018, that's in reference to when Gibson just spiraled out of control and started to do some really cool stuff. Some of them have become cult classics, like the modern Flying V. Other limited edition colors people still don't widespread know about. Like, how about Trans-Geode Rock Top R9? But that's not necessarily an insult. I love 2018. So before we get to my thoughts of all this, let's check out these new colors. On these 4 models, the 50s plain top, the 50s figured top, the 60s plain top, and the 60s figured top. Starting with our 50s plain tops, we have an Inverness green Les Paul standard, but you gotta get this, all the backs on these are natural. And if you've never seen a natural back color top Les Paul in person, this is great. This is the reason why people buy custom color 1957 reissues, because it's like a gold top, but just a different finish. I think Inverness green's looking pretty cool here. It looks very similar to some custom color R7s that we've seen in the past. But to follow that up, we get a classic white. I'm surprised they bothered to offer that one, mainly because of the contamination of the finish. White has been pretty tricky for Gibson to do lately, so making sure none of that color bleeds onto the back, it's actually quite impressive that they're leaving them in the natural state. Following that up, you get Pelham blue, very similar to our Inverness green over here, but just a little bit darker. I'm sure that's going to be a hot seller. However, we've been spoiled the past like 5 years. Pelham blue has been available. I remember when I first started to get into guitars, finding a Pelham blue anything Gibson, you had to look for true vintage or special limited editions. So it's great to see this available. Next up, just a straight up Ebony. I don't see this being a huge seller, but again, you gotta remember, you got the natural back. These things look great in person. But this one has me perplexed. It's called Sparkling Burgundy, but it just looks like a dark oxblood color. I'm betting these stock photos aren't really doing it any justice because we've seen Sparkling Burgundy on the old SG specials before they discontinue that finish on them. And the fact that you can get a cool metallic finish like that, and that's a super metallic finish. So I'm curious to see what some of these other colors might look like in person. Then this one just comes out of left field, Cardinal Red. That has not been within the production line for a long time. That is bright and vibrant. I might have to check one of those out. But now the big question, when we step up to the figure tops, is it just gonna be the same thing but a transparent finish? No, you get 6 additional color options here. So not only do you get to choose flame top or plain top, but you also get to choose between 12 new finishes? That's insane. Translucent fuchsia. It's very non-traditional, but I like it. It harkens back to some early 90s models. Except for this time they're calling it something that makes sense rather than trans purple. But you gotta remember, all of these are also natural backs. Honey Amber, interesting choice. Kind of similar to a Slash AFD, but maybe a little darker. But this is gonna get people excited. Blubbery Burst is back! Within Gibson USA production, dealers stock up now. I remember when this finish first came out. That was late Henry J era. But you gotta remember, every single one is a little bit different. Some of them, this purple border goes a little bit farther. Other ones, it's more blue predominant, like what you're seeing here. But I think my favorite so far has to be this ocean blue. Maybe it's just because of the stock photography, they just happen to use a top that I really like. But that is the best one I've seen. I hope they look that good in person. But whoa, hey! 60s cherry. I wonder if that's the exact same finish that they put on SGs, but since this is a maple top, it's going to look a little bit different. That's actually kind of cool now that I've taken a second to look at it. But look at this, the back is also cherry. Although I think a natural back on that would have been pretty cool. And then what's this? Black on a figured top? Nah, it's translucent oxblood. So oxblood finish within Gibson's realm is usually associated with the Jeff Beck signature. It's a really dark red. It usually just looks black until you shine light on it. I'm intrigued to see what hue they played off on this. Is the stock photos making it look darker than it is in person? Or is it extra dark like some people like? I can't imagine it's going to be the same as a custom shop oxblood, simply because it's a brand new finish type translucent, and they're charging you for the figure top, which moves us into our next topic. Our figure tops, they're not going up in price. They're still $3,000. But I like this new approach. The plain tops are $200 cheaper. Keep in mind, we just had some price increases and things have been all over the place, but this is a new model lineup. We don't have any hard feelings about the past anymore with these. This is a great way for somebody who's saving up for a Les Paul to get one at a slightly better price. It's not a lot, it's $200, and if you really like one color, I don't think you should settle on one of these other ones just to save $200. colors. But personally for me, as a consumer, it makes me feel good, because why should I pay flamed maple top prices when I'm getting a plain top? That's always been one of my biggest criticisms over of the Slash collection series. I can get Appetite Burst with a beautiful flame top, or I can get gold top. Exact same price, specs pretty much the same other than color. So I think that was a great move on Gibson's part. Another great move on Gibson's part is they discontinued all those old boring vintage colors, like Heritage Cherry Sunburst, Gold Top, Tobacco Burst. No, I am just 100% kidding. When I first saw the leaks of this, I was kind of worried for Gibson if they were going to be doing that and like revamping the 50s and 60s collections and only offering these finishes. But as far as I can see right now, those are still staying as a core model. They've just simply branded these new ones the Custom Color Series. So that also makes me think, how long are these actually going to last? Is it just a 1-year offering? Are we talking another 3 or 4? It's probably until the market starts to feel stale, which is what I was feeling with the original 50s and 60s collection after about 4 or 5 years. But hey, that's only half the fun. You gotta remember, all these colors are also offered on the standard 60s. So you get your classic white, your cardinal red, your ebony, your Inverness green, your Pelham blue, and your sparkling burgundy, as well as our blueberry 60s flamed, fuchsia 60s flamed, ocean blue 60s flamed. See, it doesn't look quite as good on that top, but it's still nice. It reminds me of the worn denim finish. But hey, that 60s cherry doesn't look too bad. Here's another take on the oxblood, and then our honey amber. So we effectively have 12 new finishes between each model, so that's 24 different models and color variations. Here's one thing that's kind of weighing on my mind. How on earth is a place like Sweetwater legitimately going to stock all of that? Are these going to just be on-demand type things? Because all these new ones on Sweetwater are just listed as pre-orders right now. It's probably just because what little they were sent already has already sold. Like right now, they only have one of the white ones last I checked. But at the same time, I mean, there's like 100 million different Murphy Lab offerings at any given time, so I'm sure it's nothing too scary for a big dealer like Sweetwater, but some of the small mom and pop shops, I don't know how they're gonna stock all those if they're really going to keep them in production a long time. But my friends, do not worry. If you're tired of listening to people talk about them on the internet, I have ordered one of every single color. We are going to do a massive unboxing because I want to see these all in person. That way, if somebody has a question, I will be well equipped to answer that, and I can have a little bit more hands-on experience with the colors. So that said, New Guitar Days are open for every single color variation of 50s and 60s. That was a very big sale for that dealer, but I should be getting them next week by Tuesday. So hopefully by like Friday, Saturday, we will have a big 24 guitar unboxing episode. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss out on that fun. But our fun is not over tonight. We've got more models to talk about. Our last new models episode, when we talked about the Greenie Buckers and the Marty Schwartz signature, which yes, it's still coming. You'll probably see the review in a couple of days. There was a soft release of a new color Rick Beato. Now, when I say soft release, it means it was just on Gibson's website. I did not see it advertised anywhere until the following day. A viewer of the show actually sent me a link to him playing one of these things, and he asked me, is that a new color? And yeah, it ended up being. I can't believe it's been almost a year since the initial Rick Beato run. I thought they were kind of expensive for what they are, but I fully support YouTube guys getting signature guitars because I think it's cool and his channel reaches a lot of people, and at least the initial run benefited charity. So these things sat around on the website. I was like, oh, okay, is everybody just good on these? But no, as soon as they started advertising it, the first batch sold out quickly. Apparently there's another one coming, but it's just a sparkling burgundy satin finish. I was lucky enough to finally get my hands on one, so you can look forward to that review and demo too, even though we kind of already done it. It's just a new color, but hey, I think it's worth doing. It would not surprise me that next year we get his yellow one here. Ketchup, mustard, he needs a relish one. That would sell incredibly well. Please, Rick, do a green one next. And then if you're still following the Adam Jones collection, they just released the latest artwork. We've got 2 ladies lying in bed. But when our last one was Naked Lady with Flowers, another Naked Lady with Flowers, Berserker Viking Guy, which I grew to appreciate when I learned about its historical significance, and Chibi Bee's Veil. This was kind of a nice change of pace, but what I like about it is the artist, Corinne Fott. That's Adam Jones' wife. So I could see in the very distant future this one being a desirable model. However, I'm not sure it's going to instantly sell out. I like the art, it's realistic, it's new, but I don't know if I necessarily want that on the back of my Silverburst Les Paul Custom at $1,300. Personally, my favorite is still the Veil of Bees. But if you don't care about what's on the back of your guitar, you can actually pick up some deals on those Julie Heffernan designs. But in other Gibson news, a couple of days ago, it was National Dog Day. And so Gibson posted photos of, I'm assuming, the employees' dogs or just dogs dressed up in Gibson apparel. I particularly like this one. His black shirt, the gray beanie with the ebony nose and ruby tongue, well-shaped beard. It all works. That's one stylin' pooch. And we got a pug over here rocking a couple of vintage Ebony block SGs. Lucky dog. This friend misunderstood what it means to have bite in your bridge pickup. Our next pampered pal is sleeping in what appears to be a 50s or 60s Gibson case. We've got one of our modern day Gibson USA hats. We got two by this Rose, $335. This one's saying, you better not touch this Pelham Blue Trini Lopez. That's my owner's. And then this one just has one of those Epiphone, I think they call it the Power Player series back there. And a spooky Ebony custom. And I also looked around on Cesar's page just to see if he was teasing us with anything. I didn't say anything, but I did run across this. That's a Cobra Burst Les Paul custom with the Tree of Life inlay. Kind of interesting, especially with our blacked out hardware and black chrome pickup covers, sans pick guard. But he was asking us, what would you call this finish? And he may use it. I thought it was already called Cobra Burst, but maybe there's like a very small variation difference. It doesn't always appear in camera. Or maybe they're tired of Cobra Burst. They want to rename it. I mean, it's only been out for like 13 years. It's not set in stone what we have to call these things. He was also sharing photos of another Leo Scala creation. So they had just recently sold one of these that we had talked about in this episode. But this time it's a sunburst finish and it's got a really wide travel flame top. That is a nice top. Aging, yeah, I like it or you don't. Now, I'm usually a fan of big, gaudy Gibson logos being placed boastfully, but it almost just comes across as like a Chibson case. But I'm sure it looks way better in person. I mean, look at that. It's like a red velvet exterior. So maybe we'll see some more Leo Scala creations in the coming months, and maybe even some Rickie Hinrichsen stuff. Because over on his page, he's been posting a lot. Like we got a rose over here, we've got some fancy vines, and then some of his other works from the previous years. But it looks like we're getting another Wild West rope binding one with a belt and some holsters. Oh, sheriff inspired. I'll be interested to see how they paint this one. Okay, that's what they're going for, a saloon. But nice. Looks like a wood-burned fretboard of some sort. All right, troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. It's always fun when we've got some exciting news. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, consider subscribing. I post videos like this every day. And you might even enjoy this next one.